How we doing, guys? So I'm here at Great Shots Backyard Bar and Games in Clinton Township, Michigan. It's where I hold my putting league, and I'm all set up and got a little bit of extra time before some people start rolling in. So we're gonna do a little unboxing video. I got my Royal box the other day and haven't really had a chance yet to check it out. I figured if I wasn't going to open it immediately, then I'm going to save it for tonight, where for one, I have good lighting, two, a relatively open space that I can show things off. So, by now, probably most of you have seen what's actually in the Royal box this year, but we're going to see what I got. Oh. All right, the first one already looks sick, and all I can see is like 1.5 inches of the disc. So, here we go. The Mighty Fire Edition. I kind of like that. So, we have the Fire, which is a prototype for this year. Overstable mid-range. Our vision with this disc was a shallow, comfortable grip combined with healthy dose of overstability. We wanted this Speed 5 disc to feel comfortable for both backhand and sidearm shots. If you have the power, you can definitely make it fly, but always with a very dependable fade. So it looks like in 2026 it's coming out in Grand, and in 2026 it will also be coming out in Clear, which is the new plastic, which 2 of the molds are in the new plastic. So it's Speed 5, so it's kind of a quicker mid-range. I don't think that is the one that's right on top, so I got to kind of dig down here and find it. There we go. So that is the Fire. And I like how they've started to put run numbers into their discs, into their molds. So it looks like this one was done in 2025. So it's 2025, or say, numbers read 25, 4, 4, 3. So if I'm reading this correctly, and if you know otherwise, correct me if I'm wrong, but mold year is 25, the day is the 4th, and the month will be the 4th month of the year, which is April. So this was created, this mold then was molded in April of 2025. The 3 is a guess, and my guess is that that is the actual run number. So it's the 3rd run of it. I'll show you guys the profile. Does have it's actually beadless. Just a little bit of flashing there. Fairly blunt nose. Very flat top. Ever so slight dome to it. Extremely comfortable in forehand. It is definitely shallower, which I like because I am a fan of shallower mid-ranges, which is ironic because I do really like the Fuse a lot, and I like the Core. Both of those are actually slightly deeper, but the hand feel doesn't feel that way to me. So it looks like it's not quite as beveled as a Justice. Might sit a little bit closer to a Verdict, I feel, in that. Maybe something that sits a little bit straighter than an Anchor. I'll have to get out and give it a shot soon to test that out. But the Anchor is also a deep mid-range. So that feels really, really nice. Feels fine for the backhand. For a forehand, it feels incredibly comfortable. This could be something that could be very, very reliable for shorter control forehand shots, really dependable forehand shots. So here is the Fire. And next up is, unfortunately it's down at the bottom as well, is the Mighty. That is absolutely gorgeous. So there's the Mighty. Mighty is a fairway driver. So let's see what Lat 64 has to say. Stable fairway driver. Envisioned a true workhorse fairway driver with a very straight, trustworthy flight. Being a Speed 7 disc, it will fit right in between the Glory and the Brave. They started the design process looking at the Explorer, made some changes to it. The Mighty is going to have a shallower rim, smaller dome, and of course the Royal treatment, which feels incredible, which I do not disagree. The Grand Plastic feels absolutely amazing. So this being a 7-speed, it is a little bit shallower in the dome than what the Explorer is. Let me show you the rim there. Definitely looks like it is just overall very, very straight. For a 7-speed, doesn't feel like it's too small in the hand. I don't really use 7 speeds. It's not something that fits into my bag. Nothing against them. It's just I throw cores, which are like Speed 6 mid-ranges, so they got a little sneaky distance to it, and then I go right to Striker, which used to be a 9, it got reclassified to a 7, to an 8. So I don't really have a need for a 7-speed, but this is probably going to fit into a lot of people's bags with that. Forehand, definitely feel the shallowness. Backhand, though, it's very, very comfortable. And I always enjoy straight discs, neutral discs, being a hyzer flipper, something that I'm really, really keen on. So then we'll get into the rest here. So we have a absolutely stunning Hope. That is beautiful. So this is actually in 0 medium, which is awesome. It's great that they were able to get the Royal molds into other plastics. I know the big desire for a lot of us is to see our favorite molds into the Royal plastics, which unfortunately isn't really going to work unless they're still working on something. It's just the molds don't quite fit, they don't quite line up, and we can't get those in the Royal plastics, which is kind of a bummer. Because I would love to throw some of my stuff, like a Striker, a Ballista, Musket, in like these Royal plastics. So, but the fact that they were able to do the Hope in this 0 medium, I guess we would call it almost a splatter. It's not a swirly 0 medium. It's fantastic. All right, and we have a Peak. And the Peak is in, that actually feels not like Sense, even though it does say Sense on there. That's in Grand. That's Grand plastic. But it's cool that they make the Peak, or at least they're looking to make the Peak in Sense plastic, which is the Royal Putter Line plastic. Really, really love my Saviors in Sense plastic. I don't throw any of the Royal line putters except the Savior. Pretty solidified to my mercies. I wonder if that was just an accidental stamping, or if I got the wrong disc, but that's definitely not base plastic. Still pretty though. And now we've come to so this is the Grace in the new clear plastic. So this would be like your Opto level in the Royal line. Softer flight plate. This actually reminds me a lot of old Opto. Pretty firm rim, but a softer, like gummier, grippy flight plate, which is something that I remember having in the old Opto stuff before it got a little bit stiffer. This is fantastic though. This is so awesome. Something that could be a little bit more overstable, a little bit more durable. Came out looking great. There's actually a little bit of ripple. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. There's a little bit of ripple in the plastic in the flight plate. So that's the Grace. And this one is the Brave in the new clear plastic. And that is sharp. That is really sharp. Really cool, like iridescence through the plastic. Again, something that with this new plastic then could be a little bit more overstable and just more durable and hold up to that kind of stuff. Pretty pliable. Not something that's rigid, so that's always good. I'm a big fan of pliable plastics. I want to be able to get my hand into that and feel that plastic. Never been a huge fan of like really rigid and really stiff and slick stuff. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to giving these a test run. The Brave is going to have to sit aside because unfortunately here in the state of Michigan, I got snow on the ground right now. But the Grace is probably going to get tested out here within a week, especially because it's pink. And then the Mighty and the Fire, I'll have to toss those in the bag as well. So, oh, can't forget, we got a little birdie candy as well, straight from Sweden. Fruit Gummy Drops Med Fruit Juice. So that is something that I'll look forward to trying. So there we go. There is a Royal bag for December 2025. Thanks for watching, guys. Get out there and throw.